So this was bound to happen. There seems to be a little bit of drama behind the song Mariah Carey wrote with Walter Afanasieff. I apologize, Walter. And he believes that there is a difference in story and how the song, the iconic song, All I Want for Christmas, came about. And he's talking about it in a new podcast. And I think Mariah has responded through someone else. Let's break it down. Welcome back to the Kempire Daily YouTube channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. So happy holidays from abroad. I know the content has been slow, but it's the holidays, and I'm sure you're celebrating and enjoying it with your family. I am as well. I'll talk more about my trip and everything like that in the new year on a new episode of my podcast, Kempire Radio. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on that story, because there is a story to tell. And it's not over yet. But as you know, the holidays have been a huge time for everyone, especially Mariah Carey, the self-proclaimed Queen of Christmas. There's also a side story with, and we talked about this before, about, you know, her trying to trademark Queen of Christmas. And there's been a little bit of a bump in the road in regards to that. But then there were other people that felt like, no, that's entitled to me. We won't even get into any of that, because at the end of the day, we already know who the Queen of Christmas is, and you already know who the King of Christmas is. Just saying. Sidebar. You know, every time I travel, I compare, you know, how people celebrate Christmas and see how different it is. This place doesn't celebrate Christmas, at least not like Germany. Of all places, you would never really think, but Germany does it big, at least in like Berlin and Cologne. But I'll talk more about that in my podcast. Anyways, as you know who does Christmas big, Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey makes a ton of money at the end of the day, and it's just become bigger and bigger. Not only does she make money from royalties, she makes money from millions. I'm not just talking about a couple of dollars. Okay, she makes millions at this time of the year, along with her extensive catalog of music that was already making millions. But Christmas has put her over the edge. So before we get into what Walter had to say, let's just talk about how much Mariah Carey's making. Because I think it's important when we talk about the song and why this is interesting to hear about how the song got created and how the stories differ a little bit. So Forbes writes this. It says, singer Mariah Carey may have sung All I Want for Christmas, but she actually reaps around $2.5 million in annual royalties, according to recent calculations from The Economist, while the New York Post put the figure even higher at around $3 million. Well, she just had the biggest streaming day on Spotify with over 20-something million streams. So because we're talking about the song, because it is the holidays, because there is this, you know, Queen of Christmas beef going on, this, and of course, because she's touring and she had the number one Christmas special on CBS this past week, all of this helps catapult the song even more. They say that's in addition to the $60 million in royalties the singer had received when the song was first released nearly 3 decades ago in 1994. Pay attention to that date. Appearing on her fourth studio album, Merry Christmas, the song became a global success and topped the charts in 26 countries. Since being posted to the official Mariah Carey YouTube in 2009, the video for the song has been seen by 748 million times. I'm surprised it hasn't hit 1 billion already. Though it will still likely take another few years to reach the 1 billion views mark. Really? I don't think so, but you never know. Okay, it needs to get like 300-something million, y'all, or a little bit less than that. All right. It should be remembered that the bulk of the views are limited to the holiday season, while YouTube's top music video, Guns N' Roses' November Rain, can still be listened to year-round. Along with the $2.5 million Mariah makes, she makes millions in other ways: licensing, touring. She's literally raking in millions of dollars at the end of the year, every single year. So this is incredible. Well, then the story came out about Walter Walter, I apologize. I don't want to mispronounce your name. Walter A, I will say. Well, he's written hits with a multitude of many singers that you know, okay? Including, of course, Mariah Carey, Barbara Streisand, I believe, even with Celine Dion. But he's written quite a few songs outside of All I Want for Christmas with Mariah. Just check out the Butterfly credits. That was a big thing that I used to do when I was a kid. I would want to see who wrote what, where was it recorded, who did background vocals. I was obsessed with things like that. So I remember seeing Walter's name. So when this story came out about Walter and seeing people's reaction, like, who's this man? Don't nobody know you? And everybody wants to. No, Walter has written and produced tons of songs that you just don't know that he's been the guy behind it. So he is the guy that co-wrote this song with Mariah. So in this podcast episode, he goes in detail on how this song was written. But if you've heard Mariah talk about it before, she has said that she has started with the idea of this song on a Casio keyboard. Well, let's first get into what Walter was saying in this interview. So they write this. It says, Carey has long said that she had written the holiday hit on her Casio keyboard as a child. But this week, her former co-producer and co-writer disputed those claims. I don't recall Mariah saying that she wrote it as a kid. I recall her saying that she wrote this on a Casio keyboard. And I think she maybe they're considering her kid being like 19. But I recall her saying that she wrote it then, not as like a kid. All right. So they said, while appearing on the Hot Takes and Deep Dives podcast, Walter said that Carey, a chart-topping Grammy-winning singer-songwriter, had far less of a hand in writing the song. He also claimed Carey doesn't understand music and that the two came up with All I Want for Christmas Is You together. Afanasieff said the singer was still responsible for the melodies and lyrics, but that he took charge of the music and chords. Both Afanasieff and Carey are equally credited for the hit Christmas track. So there's no real problem here. It's just really about how the idea of the song actually came about. Forbes writes this. It says, Carey hasn't responded to the revelations, but it isn't the first time she has been called out for her holiday hit. Earlier this year, Andy Stone, who had co-written the Vince Vance and the Valiant's country song of the same name, filed a $20 million lawsuit, both Carey and Afanasieff, for copyright infringement, claiming that they never sought nor obtained use of the title. That particular tune is now available on YouTube, but it has only been seen by 2.5 million people. Still an impressive number, but not nearly the views that Carey, which continues to be the Christmas song to beat. No update on that particular lawsuit. However, I'm not surprised with the level of popularity the song has reached. Everybody wants their little something, even if it means, let's see if we can win something from this. So we shall see. Even if they do win this lawsuit against Mariah, $20 million in comparison to what she's probably made just in the last few years, just maybe like the last 5 years, that could pay that off, and then she would continue to be making this money. But of course, no one wants to give up any percentage of a song that they honestly don't believe that you had any contribution to. Speaking of contribution, so as I said to you before, there is this discrepancy on how the story came about in regards to how All I Want for Christmas came about. I'm just scrolling minding my business because I originally saw the story and I was like, well, and then I see Billboard posted an interview from 1994 where Mariah talks about how the song was created.
I was up at the farm upstate where we did the video, and it was nighttime and I was just walking around, and I got the idea for the song because it was kind of like a very, the song is a very retro, kind of cute little Christmas ditty. And it was just, I don't know where it came from. Sometimes things just come to me like that. Sometimes I'll think about I want to write a song like this or like that, but that melody just came into my head, the verse melody. And then I was walking around and I just went in and I had a little keyboard set up there and I just kind of finished the lyrics and the melody just came pretty quickly. And then when I was finishing it, I would walk downstairs and look at all the Christmas type things and say, okay, what reminds me of Christmas? I need more Christmas words here. I need more Christmas references. So I'd put on different Christmas movies or, I like to set the stage a little bit.
So when Walter says that she changed how the song was created, the story, in the last 10 years, look, it's Mariah. She may embellish a little bit. She loves to embellish. That's part of who Mariah is. But the actual receipts, which I believe the Mariah team was like this, give this to a media outlet just to remind Mr. Walter, exactly, I've been telling this story since 1994. Well, almost 30 years ago. Guys, look, the drama, the musical history. I do implore you to go take a listen to the podcast interview with Walter because he talks more about how the song and the album was created for this Merry Christmas album, and how even David Foster at the time, when he was telling David Foster, you should create a Christmas song. And David Foster and a lot of people at the time were like, you don't create new Christmas songs. It doesn't happen. You're not going to create a classic. And that's exactly what they did with All I Want for Christmas. And David said that will be the last one. No, it won't. But it might be a while before it has that same level. And even when All I Want for Christmas came out originally, it wasn't a massive hit. It's become a massive hit over the years. Guys, I want to know your reaction to this story. And like I said before, I'm on vacation, so you will be getting videos if I have time. If not, I'll see you all in the new year. Happy holidays, and thanks for watching.